Okay. Hey, Cheri. Great to see you again.
It's good to see you
Thanks
too.
for coming in and meeting with me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah. So before we start, I'll just go over real quick the confidentiality that anything you say in here is completely personal. And remember, you signed the confidentiality waiver that you understood that unless something was of like imminent personal, it could cause imminent personal harm, then it stays here between us.
Okay.
Okay, whatever you say. So it's a completely safe atmosphere.
That's good to be reminded of.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I thought we'd just kind of, go over what's been going on with you, and I just wanted to, maybe check in. How's everything been going this last week?
Well, it's been a good week. It's been a better week. I feel better from our last session, having some target goals to work on.
Great. So what exactly has made your week better?
Well, I got 2 job applications done.
All right, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of, that must have taken a lot of kind of determination on your part to be able to do that.
I had the resume done, so I just updated it, and I've got letter of recommendations started by some of the people where I work at the church, so
All right.
have those ready. So hopefully I can submit them very soon.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. I'm really proud of you. You're able to do so much in 1 week. That's a lot of work right there.
Mm-hmm.
How has everything been going with your family?
The little one was sick this past week, so
Okay, your youngest daughter.
Yes, the youngest granddaughter, so kind of lost some sleep over that. She's doing better. Little ones will just get sick and suck the life out of you.
I'm sure. Did you find out what it was that was causing her to be sick?
She just had a virus that was going around. So
Okay.
the good old stomach one.
Okay, and those can be difficult to deal with.
Yes.
But she's better now.
She is.
Okay, that's good. It's good you were able to help her and see that through to resolution. Okay, so we have the treatment plan that we wrote up together during our last session.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe we'd go over it a little bit.
Okay.
I believe the first thing that we talked about was what I put in the SOAP note that I wrote for you, which was about the grief counseling. And we talked about kind of the pros and cons of grief counseling for you. How have you been feeling about, your options with seeing a grief counselor?
Well, I know I was supposed to look at some of the organizations that offer that. I think I'm going to need your help because I just couldn't bring myself to go there yet.
Okay.
So just still suppressing taking care of that aspect.
Yeah. Well, that's a very common reaction to the situation that you've gone through already. A common reaction is to tend to suppress your feelings. It can make it seem like it's easier to deal with things around you if you're not, directly addressing that. So, and also, I compliment you in having the, the understanding that it might be too much for you to deal with right now, especially after this last week when you've been working on looking for a job.
Yeah, so that's a little bit more concrete and attainable for me.
Right. So it sounds like you're more comfortable prioritizing looking for work right now. Am I correct in assuming that?
Well, I am, but I think I might need your help making me do the other.
Yeah, doing the great. Yeah, you need to. So it sounds like you need a bit of a push, maybe.
Push there. Yeah.
Okay, I totally understand. Well, why don't you tell me? So I believe last time when we talked about your grief, you remember we did the scaling. If you could kind of estimate now on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, you're able to deal with the grief perfectly well, 10 being unbearable grief, where would you say you would be?
10 being that I can deal with the grief or not really?
10 being that the grief is far too much for you to deal with.
Probably a 9.
A 9, okay. Well, I mean, would you agree with me that a 9 out of 10, that makes it sound pretty serious?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And, when a person is experiencing such extreme grief, like on a scale of 9 out of 10, my understanding is that can possibly impact a lot of other things that are going on in your life, because it can help, it can impact the way that you help your children. It can impact, or I'm sorry, your grandchildren.
It's okay. I think of them as my children. So.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. You spend enough time with them. It can impact, your job search. It can impact your day-to-day life and your kind of your functionality as a person.
Never really thought about that.
Yeah. Well, I do commend you for understanding your grief and understanding that it is, it is at a pretty high level. Yeah.
He hasn't been gone too long, so just been dealing with all the changes in the paperwork that follows the loss of a spouse.
Yeah.
So not as busy now, which is why I came your way. I knew that, okay, that part and that aspect we've transitioned from the kids are in counseling, so perhaps, get a little extra support and be able to handle counseling myself or get some.
I understand. And so it sounds like so your grandchildren, your two granddaughters, they're both in counseling themselves?
Yes, they definitely are. That was obviously needed help.
So that was something you helped them with that before you came here yourself.
Yes.
That's really interesting. That shows kind of like what a selfless person you are, because you were able to put them ahead of yourself. Do you agree with me on that?
Well, that's kind of what moms do. Grandmas being moms. That's what we tend to do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so last time when you were here, I gave you the names of 3 potential organizations that do grief counseling that did not require insurance, where you would be able to see a grief counselor on like more of a sliding scale. And you said just now that would be a little too much for you to look into on your own.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how I'll juggle the child care and going to counseling, and I'm already taking them to counseling, and just, I've got, I'm not sure you're saying it's going to impact my job searching, and I hadn't thought about that. It probably would, and maybe I should put the grief counseling, maybe work on that and job searching at the same time. And how much does grief counseling stir up emotions? And again, sometimes I'm happy and I'm fine, and sometimes I cry a lot. And so how much does that, should I continue looking for a job? Or?
Yeah, that's a good question. It completely depends on the individual. It depends on your state of mind. It depends on all of the environmental factors that are happening in your life. And so it's impossible to predict how grief counseling would affect you. It could be something that, you only deal with in that 1 hour a week when you're doing it. It could be something that, reverberates or let me use an easier word, that kind of affects you throughout the rest of your week.
Okay.
So it's tough to say, but right now, we're still beginning with our treatment. I want to try to pinpoint what is the most important to you and work on that. And, it sounds like you're a little conflicted between starting with grief counseling and looking for employment.
Well, I filled out the resumes, but I haven't submitted them yet, and so I'm not sure what I can handle. But I know that takes some stress off of me if I had, that income start coming in. So, type of job I'm looking for, maybe I'll be okay because it's in the music field, and that tends to make me very happy.
Yeah, and that's good. That's great.
It's good therapy.
There you go. When somebody has a job that can act as their own therapy, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Well, so how about this? Why don't we continue with the job search? Okay. And in terms of the grief counseling, if that comes up and you feel like your grief is affecting you to a stage where you really need that support, you always have the option of going in and maybe just meeting with a counselor one time, where you don't have to set off in a binding agreement that it's going to be X number of sessions, where maybe I'm familiar with some of these counselors, and we've had other clients such as yourself go see them before, where you can maybe sit down and have an initial session with them and see how, see what the counselor's personality is like, because I'm sure before you came in here, you weren't sure what my personality was going to be like.
Right.
Right, and so you can see what their personality is like. Maybe it will mesh well with you, and maybe it won't. And if it doesn't, that's that's no one's fault. That's just how two people are.
Okay.
And you can see if it's something you want to continue with that will help you out.
Maybe while I'm waiting for the letters of recommendations coming out, I'll make that call this
Okay.
next week and move forward with meeting somebody that can help me through the process of grief and talking it out.
Okay, that's
I
great.
feel better about doing that. Sometimes I try to swallow the whole elephant and haven't thought about, just one step at a time.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, what you're saying is that sometimes you take on too much at once.
Yes.
And that can especially become an issue when somebody like yourself who has so many things going on in their life right now.
Yep.
Yeah, taking on too much at once is not something you want to start with. And so, let's see, we can go over a couple other things on your treatment plan here. Something we did talk about last week that was also a big priority was the health insurance issue. This last week I was able to call you, your husband, your deceased husband's, his company, and they gave me some information about his health insurance plan that it's going to run for another 4 weeks.
Okay.
They kind of give a period, like kind of a grief period when an employee is deceased, for his family to remain on that coverage before finding alternate coverage.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah. So it's not, it's not an absolute immediate need, but it is something to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a good amount of other resources that we can use to try to find some coverage for you and for your grandchildren.
You can help me kind of figure out where to start.
Right, I can.
Okay.
That is something that we're able to do together. What we can do is, we can speak to if you are comfortable speaking to the human resources office at his organization. We can do that.
I go. Okay.
Right, we can do that. But they gave me some information,
Okay.
and one of the options is the COBRA coverage.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty expensive, but it will allow you to continue with the family coverage for yourself and your grandchildren on a monthly basis. Yeah.
Okay.
How do you feel about that option?
Probably not a good one.
Okay.
So I really we're buying less groceries to make it through month to month, so there's not any leftover money for insurance coverage.
Okay.
So
That's understandable.
So I've heard about Cobra. It's really expensive.
Yeah, it can be quite
So,
expensive. It can be up to $500 or $600 per month. Well, that's just
Okay.
that's just one option I wanted to run by you, and I wanted to give you as many options as possible, just so you're aware of everything out there that's available to you.
Are there other options that's not gonna?
Yes, another option would be to apply for Medicare,
Okay.
or I'm sorry, Medicaid,
Okay.
which is an option for
Well,
you.
I
I
was
believe.
ready for Medicare if I were you.
Close to Medicare. Yeah, not there yet.
Okay.
But Medicaid is something that we can, we can go to the office together if you'd like. That's an option.
Okay.
And I also have some paperwork that we can go over
Okay.
before we go about, the forms that you'll need. And, it's pretty extensive stuff. We can, we can
Okay.
go over it, the two of us, and I can help you fill it out. I've helped other people fill it out before.
Okay.
Medicaid coverage is usually pretty comprehensive in this state. And so,
That's good.
yeah, so you and your granddaughters will still have the care that you require.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
well, that sounds promising. I guess we'll try to deal with that one the next session and see. And this week I'll just focus on getting those letters of recommendations and
Great.
call a group counselor. And are we meeting next week?
I believe next week we're gonna meet to discuss our termination.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So
and that's something we can talk about. Talk
what
about
if
more.
I we don't get through the process of some of this paperwork, that stuff I need to learn how to do.
Well, we will do as much as we possibly can. If there's anything we don't get to, that's something I'll arrange for you to work on with another social worker here at the agency. Somebody else who is just as easygoing and as competent as I am, I'm sure.
Does your agency take care of anything special needs children that are starting to become adults? Later, when that issue comes up, would I contact this agency?
This agency, we primarily work with adults such as yourself who are going through, financial issues. That's kind of our focus here.
Okay.
But I am aware your oldest granddaughter, who is now 15, is that correct?
She just turned 16.
She just turned 16. Okay, well, happy birthday to her. I'm sure that we can help you find some resources that work with young adults with disabilities. There are plenty of resources out there.
I apologize, just kind of something that was back in my head. So.
Right. No, I totally understand. Okay. Well, so it sounds like we've gone over a good amount of things. Do you have any other questions for me regarding your situation?
So I can bring in the resume next week and the letter of recommendations and make sure I've got it all right.
Sure. Yeah. Why don't you bring that in and we can talk a little bit about the jobs that you found, and we can go over that a little bit and maybe talk about how they fit your interests and about what you need to do in order to put your application in.
The 2 jobs I found was just shared with me by people at church, and that's how I found out about.
Okay.
What other ways could I, find jobs that are out there in the music field? Do you know of any resources that I could learn about?
That's a good question. Well, it's great that you talked with people at your church, because one of the best resources are the people around you, the people kind of in your social circles. So I commend you for doing that. In terms of other resources, we can look online. How comfortable are you using a computer?
I'm learning. The librarian's helping me with the resume and teaching me templates. So
that's great.
With my homeschooling, I've had to make sure that I did stay up with some technology. So I guess I'm a moderate area, not a beginner.
Okay, so it sounds like you're able to do a fair amount of things, but you'd like to improve your computer skills a little bit.
A little bit. I'm just not sure if the computer is where I go find other job applications or jobs out there. Or is it the newspaper? It used to be the newspaper.
Yeah.
But, are there companies that help you find jobs?
There are some agencies that specialize in working with adults who are in need of employment. If you're interested in working with one of them, but working with us here, we're still able. I'm able to help you with looking for jobs. Of course, there are plenty of things I can help you do. And if you want to maybe look at some options for a resume template, or the wording on your resume is very important. You got to use lots of big fancy words.
Okay.
Well, you don't have to, but it always helps.
Okay.
But we can look at that a little bit if you'd like, and we can also look online. I can show you some websites where they would have
that would be wonderful.
Job listings. For this region. Your question about if they still have job listings in the newspaper, there are some, but it's not nearly as extensive as it used to be, because we know that in the past pretty much all of the job listings would be in the newspaper. Now it's primarily on the internet, and I can understand if that might be a little concerning to you, since you're not as comfortable, and it's probably easier just going through and circling a couple jobs. But I can help you online.
Okay, yeah, kind of where to start looking online with and plug in. Good grief, I don't even know what I would call what I do as a music minister, or but I'll have to kind of figure out a network or so.
We will. We can go over all of that and figure out the best way for you to represent yourself to potential employers. And
Okay.
you seem like a woman who has gone through a lot, especially in recent months. But you've had this career for a long time. You're very capable of doing lots of things. You're a very caring person. You're great with the
Thank you very
grandchildren. Yeah.
much.
So
Okay.
I think that you should have some success in looking for employment. It's tough to find a job.
You get
the
intimidated by the younger people and
yeah.
tech savvy, and so music and tech savvy, they would have to have somebody that does that, and pretty much,
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting what's out there.
Yeah. I think that you and I working together will be able to figure it out pretty
Okay.
well.
Well, that's good. That's
Okay.
good. Okay.
All right. Well, so before just to wrap up, tell me, how are you feeling about the topics we covered today?
So I think I want to stay on track with make sure I get those letter recommendations back, and
Mhm.
I will definitely. I think when I leave here, I'll call the grief counselor that you recommended. I still have her number on my phone.
Great.
And I'll move forward with that, and so maybe we can get 1 or 2 sessions done before I actually have to interview for a job, just to make sure that I'm stable, and that's what I should be doing right now is, starting a new job and such.
Yeah. Well, that is 100% your decision. To nobody is better at gauging where you're at than you. But I understand if you want to do that, and that's a good idea. What I will do before our next meeting is that I will get the paperwork together to apply for Medicaid.
Okay.
And so I'll get the paperwork, so we have the all the paperwork in order to do it for you as well as for your grandchildren, so we can make sure that before that 4-week period is up, you'll be fully covered.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right.
That sounds great, and I'll have to got a lot to think about, but I'll sort through it and.
Sure. And if you have any problems at any time, you can always call me and you can talk to me.
Yeah, I have the HC phone number and your extension. So.
Great.
Appreciate your time today.
No problem. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it.
And
sorry about the cramped space here.
it's fine. You have a good day.
Okay, you too. Take care. Bye-bye.